You're not allowed to play for us in the studio on an instrument.
That's right. That guitar has to stay down there. I can come close to it,
Yes.
but I dare not touch
You
the
better
string.
not touch it.
Well, you know, my union is desperately fighting for jobs. The music industry was automated, first with talkies, then phonograph and radio, and now TV, jukeboxes. And in every city and town, there are thousands of musicians who spent years in training and no jobs. I mean, not just half a job, but no job.
But Pete, we want to give you a job.
Okay, but now right here in this town, there's guys who say, well, how come he comes from hundreds of miles away, he gets a job and I don't? Says, we're going to restrict him. If he's in this town, let him give a concert or let him be on TV, but he can't do both.
Within
now,
5
I admit
days.
it's a silly rule, and this isn't what I think of as real unionism. Real unionism attacks the whole broad problem. It doesn't become a narrow little protective association. It says, I'm going to hold on to what I got and nobody else ain't going to get none of it. But it attacks the whole broad problem of unemployment, and it's a serious one. I'm shocked that in my own country I hear an economist say, we have to have at least 3 million unemployed or else there's too much inflation. We have to have 3 million unemployed. He might as well say we have to have thousands of drug addicts. We have to have thousands of desperate, demoralized people who will go out and commit crime because they think there's no future in life. We have to have divorce. It's not necessary. I don't think it's necessary to have 3,000 unemployed, no matter what this economist says.
Let me, you're very cleverly and deviously getting us away from the AFM. And
okay, get back to the Musicians Union.
Let's get back to Musicians Union for a minute, because I think that it's not only a silly rule, but maybe a crazy rule. We'd be prepared to hire a group of them to stand by here while you play the guitar and pay them and keep them at least nominally employed, but they won't even go for that. And I wonder what the justification of that kind of a rule
Well,
is.
I think you ought to get them up here and ask the question. I'd like to ask them, too. I think it's a very silly ruling. There's a lot of silly rulings, though, of unions, not just the Musicians Union. They're usually these little craft unions that they're not the big industrial unions who don't make this silly rule as often. And some of the best unions are the most radical militant unions that have tackled the problem head-on. I'm thinking of the longshoremen of the West Coast. Harry Bridges, the head of the longshoremen, is an old friend of mine. I once sang a song for him, helped make up a song when they were trying to deport him to Australia years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what Bridges and his union have done? They see that new inventions are made which can throw thousands of longshoremen out of work and make unloading ships a highly efficient, inexpensive procedure by comparison.
Sure, in many
Well,
areas
they tried,
it's completely automated.
like many unions, the members were against it. They said, look, we need jobs. They throw us out of work and they make a lot of money and we're out walking the street. And I've been working for 30 years as a longshoreman. What kind of job can I get now? I'm on relief. He says, who's going to hire a man 55 years old at something he's never done before? And he says, so we're going to fight it. But Bridges pointed out to his union, and they argued about it for a full year. They said, look, sooner or later it's got to come. They're going to bring in these big automated cranes. One man sitting up there in a little cab can reach with this automatic arm down in the hole and he lifts it out. And they don't need a train of 24 guys walking into the hole and carrying them on their shoulder. And so they worked out a deal with the shipping bosses. They say, okay, you can bring in your machinery, but you got to pay in enough money into our welfare fund so we can retire people at a good pension. Not $10 a month, but a couple $100 a month. So when a man retires, he can live and not starve. And that's what they did. The Pacific Coast Maritime Ship Owners and Shipping Association agreed. It said, okay, we'll automate the waterfront, but the benefits will be passed on to the workers. And it seems to me that's what should be done in the music industry. Okay, you've got radio, you've got TV, you've got records, but the benefits of automation should be passed on to the people who are thrown out of work. And pay for, let some of the money that goes into TV and radio pay for state, for a symphony orchestra, for example, in every big city. I mean, it's a shame that many people in our countries have never seen a live symphony orchestra. Some of the greatest music in the world they'll never see live, only if you live in Toronto and Montreal and a couple other cities.